Hey guys! So my big bug video was supposed to be next, but the scope on that one is quickly getting out of hand, and I'm not sure if I'll have it done before I have to get surgery later. I actually don't know what the date for that will be yet, but I know it'll be soon, and so for that reason, I have a smaller video for you all today instead. I recently saw the K-pop Demon Hunters movie. Super good movie. If you haven't seen it yet, go do yourself a favor and check it out. Even if you aren't a huge K-pop fan like I am, it's still a really fun time. More importantly, this boy's in it and like, come on, look at him. You know I had to make him. Am I following a trend? Maybe. But it's not my fault. He is literally the most feltable guy I've ever seen. It would have been a crime to ignore this. Anyway, enough rambling, let's just get right into it. We start this kitty with a ball, and then we pile on more clumps of wool to build up the shape of the body. We don't want the body to be perfectly shaped at this stage, because the legs will add even more bulk to the body, and I find it's easier to sculpt the shoulders and things after putting them on. I start to work on the face by adding a sausage to build out the snout and top of the mouth. I'm starting to get tired of felting with the body on, so I decapitate him and set the body aside for later. Now it's actually possible to get around this thing. Back to the mouth, I add on the bottom jaw and then carve out a cavity for the mouth. I also cut away at the lips since they were a little bit too big. Now I've got a decent amount to work with, so I start by adding the red to the inside of the mouth. I let a little bit of red extend past the mouth so that the core wool underneath doesn't show through at the edges. Now I line the mouth with some lips. I should have probably added the teeth first, but that's okay, I can readjust the lips later. Before I finish the mouth, I want to go ahead and make those big handsome eyes. I do that by drawing them with colored pencils and using resin to glue on the glass cabochons. I could have felted these, but his eyes are so glassy that I thought it would be fitting to use real glass instead. I really wanted to make these glow too. I tried a few options off screen, but they just barely worked very well, and I thought it wouldn't be worth the trouble this time. Maybe if I used translucent clay and painted on the eyes it could have worked, but my painting skills aren't as polished as my colored pencil skills, so I'll do paint again at some other time. Now that those are done and cut out, I stick them on the face and trace around the eye with my scissors to cut out a socket for the eye to slide nicely into. With the eyes in place, I go back to the mouth and add in the teeth and the tongue. And then I go back over the lips yet again to make them the correct shape and size and account for the teeth. And I also add in the black outline as well. Before adding any other details to the face, I need to get the head to the right shape. So I go over the sides and bulk it up, also building up the bridge of the nose, and then covering it all in a base layer of blue. With the face shaped up more, I can go and work on the eyes again. While they're about as close to just giant circles in the movie that eyes can be, they aren't quite there and we need to manipulate the shape slightly with some eyelids. This part is a bit tricky because needles don't react well to stabbing glass, so I want to felt out the eyelid first and attach it around the eye, very carefully felting around it so I don't hit the glass. And then to finish them off, I add on his black eyeliner. Again, super slowly and carefully. If I stab too deep here, the black will just sink behind the eyelids, and I want that to actually be visible. Alright, eyeballs done. Now we make the ears, which are just two triangles that are flattened in the front. I go to add them on and notice that he needs much more forehead, so I add even more core wool on top to beef it up. Actually, the face as a whole could use a bit more chunk. Okay, too much chunk now. I go back to add on the ears now, but then I realize that they're a lot further back on the head than I thought, so I'm going to have to attach the head to the body and finish that up first before adding them. And as you can see, the head has grown significantly, so now I need to add more wool to the body to compensate. I don't finalize anything on the body yet until I add on the legs, and for those I roll up 4 sausages, wrap them up with yarn to keep them together, and stick wires into each of them. I shape them up just a bit and then work on the feet. I start with the lighter blue since that's the color of the underside of the paws, and give them each a bump that will later become the kitty toes. Once those are vaguely toe looking, I add on the darker blue above them and then finish the shape of the foot. Then I felt on some lines to separate each toe and add on a teeny claw to each. And of course, we can't forget those beans. Now that the feet are done, I finish up the bottom half of the leg, but I leave the top mostly alone since I'll be adding more core wool to blend these into the body. Once they are satisfactory, I cut slits into the body for the legs and slide them in, roughly felting them down to hold them in place. I realize the body here is way too short and need to extend it again. Once properly sized, I also add on the back legs and then proceed to properly chunkify this kitty. Once the size and shapes of the body are close to what I want them to be, I can add on the blues, starting with the light blue for the tummy. And then the darker blue for the rest of him. As I go, I alter the shapes just a bit with the blues, mostly on the legs. Now he's all blue and looking a bit naked without his stripes. We'll get to those, but I wanted to add on a bit of color variation to add a bit more visual interest. I mixed the two shades of blue together to get something in between that I will be using for the top of his head, back, and parts of his paws. To soften up the edges of the colors, I go back over them with very loose pieces of the darker blue, kind of going back and forth between the two. Next, I move to the belly to give him those leopard spots he has. I start with a patch of the darker blue and then add a light blue spot to the insides of them. Before doing all his stripes, I want to add on his tail. Normally I prefer to make the tail first and then stick a wire in it, but in this case the tail is so long that I thought it would be a huge headache to do it that way. So I wrap some core wool around a wire and tie it down with yarn. Then I fatten it up a bit with more core wool until it's all even and smooth. then start with the black tip of the tail. And then cover the rest of it with a base blue. And then I felt on all of his stripes. Similarly with the belly spots, I start with the black for the stripes and then fill the insides with light blue afterwards. Once they are nice and stripy, I use my mini iron to flatten all the patterning and then stick it onto his butt. I thought I was keeping a good eye on the size here as I was going, but the tail ended up being a little bit too small. Oh well, that's okay, I'm not remaking it at this point. Let's now finish this boy by adding on all the rest of his stripes. After adding all the light blue, I go back over the black stripes to thicken them back up again, since a little bit of that was lost after adding the blue. Now to finish this little boy off, we can't forget his little magpie.